Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day, like I am here. Happy Friday. Now let's go ahead and take a look here, of course, at Wilder, which is wild, essentially, same thing. We'll take a look at that here, of course. Bitcoin first, though. We always look at that as a foundation. It's really important you know that. Also, if you're new to the channel, I'm not a financial advisor. I just have over 15 years of trading experience, and my goal here is to hopefully help educate you on best practice so you can become a better, more effective trader. If you'd like a leg up in the industry, feel free to join my Patreon community. I actually have a signal community where we actually send out signals, and every single trade that I take, you're able to one-click follow if you'd like. And I do trend about 85% success rate overall with my day trades, and there's also swing trades as well. Check that out in your own time, of course. I have a descriptive video, link in the description below for that, but what we're looking at here first is Bitcoin. It is actually staying above support. In other words, it didn't even bother to test 60,000 a day, just kind of came down to 60,500, bounced, now we're right around 62,300. So just another thing to understand too, all in all, Bitcoin's in very good shape. I think we might actually see a breakout to the upside here soon. This is an ascending wedge pattern, or sorry, correction, descending wedge pattern. And what it does, it essentially breaks the upside. It's falling essentially, right? So it's just a slight retracement and then an increase. So we should see an increase here soon. Today might actually have been the initial increase we needed leading into the weekend, but moving forward, we have a resistance at about 65 and 66,000, support at 58 and 60,000. Very last thing to note is that we do have a volume profile range here where we can kind of see that there's a tremendous amount of volume right down here, right at about 55,000. Okay, so if we do lose this support, we have a nice healthy support at 55. I'd prefer the price to drop down to 55,000 just so we can go ahead and add more to our position before we take a break up to 100,000 plus, right? I think that's very likely still here in the next couple months for Bitcoin. All right, moving on to Wild. Let's go ahead and see what's going on here. So first thing is a note, of course, just for obvious reasons, let's go ahead and mark this here as a resistance. And I could be wrong, but I'm fairly confident that this is the well, it's the only USDT, so we're just going to roll with that here. So if this is not the ICO date, I do apologize in advance, but it does look like it was, or if nothing else, at least just introduced to KuCoin on that day, obviously. So we'll just kind of work with that as the highest point, but just note that this is the only USDT option, and that's usually what I like to cover. Okay, but that being said, we got the resistance here up at about $5, pretty darn close to $5. And currently right now, the temporary resistance is about 467. So we'll just go ahead and mark that as well for obvious reasons because it's the most recent high. All right. Another further note here we want to look at. Actually, why don't we just go ahead and pull up Fibonacci and kind of see roughly where we're at here for this. And let's go right up to this point and see where we're at for support and resistance zones. We'll go ahead and work that on a smaller chart. Next up, though, first of all, to note, we're under 70 on the RSI. This is fantastic. Basically just means that we have more room for growth. Technically, it's peaking up over, but we're still in really good shape here to allow for it to have more room to continue to the upside. So coins like this have a tendency of just keep on pushing higher and higher based on the fact that we're up over 50 and now up over 70 or right at that point where it's cresting. So that's a really good sign here. I like to see that here for Wilder. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the 4-hour chart and see how these support and resistance zones are shaping out. So you obviously got a support zone here. Let's go ahead and mark that about 290. So the price doesn't retracing. I got 290. I also like this one here as well. Let's go ahead and mark this guy here too. Now again, I'm not just drawing lines out of a hat. These are Fibonacci retracement lines, and they're actually very, very impactful in a sense that, where the price goes up this high, if it comes back down, there's a strong likelihood that it'll bounce off of one of these two lines. Now, taking a look here at the RSI, we're up over 70. That's pretty standard for something like this. Nothing to really worry about. We do have a MACD convergence at about 9 a.m. on the 28th. So that was yesterday. Let's go ahead and mark that really quick. And the reason I like to mark that is we look at the 1-hour chart and we pull up the Ishimoku cloud, we typically see the price breaking above the cloud around the same time. So in this 4-hour time frame, possibly even 8 hours, just say for example, we have a MACD convergence on the 4-hour chart telling us that, hey, the EMA 12 is intersecting with the 20 in an upward fashion. That's basically what's going on with the actual MACD convergence, right? Where the momentum shifts from bearish to bullish, right? That being said, if we look at this here, we can see the price breaking above the cloud, not 4 to 8 hours later, right? Kind of confirming that we have that progression in the right direction, right? So in other words, what I try to look for, first of all, I look for a MACD convergence of the 4-hour chart. That's like the number one thing I would say for swing trading to identify, long-term potential, because you got that shift in momentum. Furthermore, when you have a 1-hour Ichimoku cloud breakthrough, when it breaks above lead one, we're looking at very, very good shape here to basically kind of, take position. I know retrospect and hindsight's 2020, but say you'd set an alert for when the price broke above the cloud, you would be up about 45% right now based on that one single sentiment. Okay. So again, there's a lot of little things you can factor in, but I would say the MACD convergence in the 4-hour chart in combination or conjunction with the 1-hour Ichimoku cloud breakthrough, fantastic. It's like a double rainbow. It's perfect. Works every single time, unless of course you're trying to drive into a resistance level. But in this case, it just kept on going right through it, right? So that's really awesome. That being said, all good stuff here. Let's go ahead and see how much gas we have left in the tank here for TD sequential. We're probably getting closer to a reset, and we did actually. That's cool. Okay. So here's the thing, with TD sequential, it counts from 1 to a 9. When you get to a 9, it essentially will either retrace or go sideways. That's the common theme. Now, and as you can see here, we got up to a 9, right? Got up to a 9, but it was able to reset because it was able to consolidate and retrace, whereas this candlestick is essentially, higher than this previous candlestick, so it essentially reset to a 1, then we got the 1 through to a 9. Now look at this, we got a nice little period of consolidation and another leg up. So hypothetically, this one could very well still have about 7 hours worth of bullish momentum left in it before it hit either A, has to retrace or go sideways. Now keep in mind, these are not super strong sideways, consolidation periods, if you will. As you can see, it is a staircase pattern, which is healthier, right? But I think we need a little bit more consolidation for this bull run to really, truly continue. So I do like what I see here. I do think Wilder has much more potential to continue to increase, possibly even to its previous, more recent all-time high, or just a more recent high. Again, this is the first USD option on KuCoin, but generally speaking, I think that we're at a point where this could continue, but if it doesn't, we at least have a nice healthy support level right around 3.3, or sorry, just say $3.34 rather, 334 and or 290, right? So 290 and 334 are the nice support levels there. So all in all, pretty good shape here for Wilder. I like what I see. I think big potential. We're definitely going to see here soon what happens, but let's go ahead and pull this up one more time. Take a look at the Fibonacci and let's kind of just project out and see how much higher we could go with this, right? So hypothetically, if we were to have just say a continuation to the upside, in other words, the price were to do what it did today, again, either tomorrow or within a couple weeks. I prefer to be within a couple weeks because if it does that, it'll retrace significantly and it's not going to be fun for anyone. But the bottom line here is if we can get a nice period of consolidation sideways, just say for a couple of hours, or sorry, at least a couple of days, right? We need at least 2 or 3 one-day candlesticks to close in a sideways, with sideways momentum, and then for it to bounce effectively off the support level here of right around, again, 168, sorry, 368. I keep misspeaking that. So right around 368, say that were to bounce off 368. The best case scenario for this coin would be about 569. So I would say about closer to just say 570 is a round number, is where this coin could be if it were to continue to progress upwards, of course, based on its current momentous trend, if that makes any sense. Okay, so again, that's a better case scenario, but just keep in mind, if it does this tomorrow, it's going to retrace like hell, and it's going to come down hard and fast. It's really rare for coins to go longer than, just say, 3 days of really super strong increases without a period of consolidation. That's why I always speak to my community members and let them know, hey, it's super important to pay attention to consolidation. If it's not consolidating, you've got these kind of like red flags and warning signs, right? Even Shiba Inus or the Elons recently here for those meme coins, they've actually been able to consolidate periodically within each increase to allow for the next leg up to happen. Granted, they're going a little bit on the extreme side and they're oftentimes retracing back down heavily, but prior to that, they have some healthy patterns, right? This has a healthy pattern. It's just on a microscopic, on the 1 hour, you have to go down to the 1 hour time frame to see it. We need to see a couple more candlesticks close here. I would say sideways, at least, hopefully above 370, and kind of keep it there. And then we can see a leg up. But again, if it doesn't continue to progress sideways, right? Say we get some retracements, we do have 345 and of course 290 as nice healthy support levels. All right. And then furthermore, one last thing too, of course, year end, I would say we're probably looking at $6 to $8 if this continues on this trend. Again, I don't know much about the fundamentals here. This is just something that my patrons asked me to cover. But do your own research at all times, of course. And before you take entry too, set profit targets, right? Set a target at the place right before support. So in this example, right where this resistance is at is $5. A profit target for that would be good, like $4.95. That'd be an ideal profit target. So for me, whenever I set targets, I always set them just below resistance and or above support. Okay, so something to consider, and with by all means, of course, always have a trailing stop loss in place. So the very last little tip of advice there is make sure you use trading bots for that, because not a lot of unfortunately, not a lot of exchanges offer trailing stop loss. And what it does is I use a profit target stop loss. When it hits its profit target, it'll adjust the stop loss to the most previous target. In other words, if profit target 1 is at $5 and your break even is at $4, it would move your stop loss to break even. So heaven forbid you get stopped out, you still take profits and you essentially close the trade. Simple, easy peasy, good stuff. We do that in our trading community, of course. Check that out in your own time. But we use Cornix, and what it does is it actually has all these things built in. So every single signal that I send, my community members can just one-click follow and go ahead and have that same philosophy. Really awesome stuff. So anyways, thank you so much for your time here today. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. You take care now. Take care. Bye-bye.